Hello everyone and welcome to this stream, the final day of the LeelaKnightOdds against GM Joel Benjamin match, with Joel leading 3.5 to 2.5 after a very exciting day's play yesterday. The first three games, the first day of the match, that was really Joel all the way, with Leela just scrambling a draw in the final game with an amazing fortress in a 3 pawns down opposite coloured bishop endgame. The second day was much tighter somehow. Leela still scrambling the draws that it got, but felt like it was more felt like it was more it was more the sort of the sharper games that we used to, and then there was a lovely bit of endgame magic in the second game of the day that was fantastic. It was just really a very, very good endgame, and got to have a look. I mean, I really thought that what Joel did was nice and safe, heading for a fortress. You know, he'd sort of struggled a bit in the opening in that game, and Leela done some tactics, but of course, being a piece up, you can survive them, and Joel had. He was the exchange for a pawn up, but sort of looking to clarify it, not to give Leela, a weakness and some play and a chance to grind him down forever, looking to clarify the position. He just assumed there was a fortress. I assumed it too, but it was obviously tighter than we thought somehow. So and Leela won a beautiful game, beautiful endgame play. Obviously played instantly as well, which is the hilarious thing somehow. Hey Nicholas, hey Mr. Beats. Yeah, looking for a couple of great games there. It's I guess Joel will be starting to get a little bit tired. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he were, but just 2 games now, so should be pretty all right. I think we're kind of seeing that at this time control, I guess I think the odds are definitely on the human player's side. I think you need to play incredibly strongly still as a human player, but I think that having all that time, being able to absorb the shocks that Leela is throwing at you, and then just work out a way, not so that you don't throw it all away just out of shock, but you work out and parry that and then move on. I think that that strong players with this sort of time control is probably a little bit in the human player's favour, but pretty tough, pretty tight still. 3.5, 2.5. Yeah. So the score at the moment, Bleak is 3.5, 2.5. Thanks, Larry, to in Joel's favour. So I mean, I think I'm still expecting Joel to end up with a plus score out of the match. I think, but I think it's been a very thrilling tight match, and obviously I think you can play a little bit with the time. I mean, maybe something like 45 minutes, and you sort of think, it's going to be a bit of a toughie really to get a plus score for a human player. That might just be the parity sort of score. Or 30 maybe for a player another notch above what Joel is now. I mean, that might be sort of parity. Maybe a wonder at 30 minutes. Would be a very interesting matchup as well. It's pretty clear that 10 plus 3 is too much for even very strong players. So. It's quite something. I mean, that is the amazing thing about it, right? That before this all happened, I would have said, we've chatted about this a lot. Yep, it's it's all about essentially Leela has to discover interesting things for to be challenging for a human, but you don't want to. You don't want to. It doesn't need to calculate stuff that only another engine would find. It needs to calculate just enough to get a good feel for what a human might play, but not what Stockfish might play. So certainly seems to work pretty well like this. And it seems to be that the higher the odds that are given, the lower the node search needs to be somehow. So Queen odds has got a lot, searches a lot fewer nodes. I think it was 800 they were looking at somehow, compared to yeah, what is it, to 30,000 now for knight odds. But yeah, I mean, a lot does depend on the opening as well. I think, you know, some openings a little bit easier for human players to keep control of. Other ones are getting a little bit tricky. Hey, me, yeah, I believe in Joel. I believe in Joel too. I think Joel will make it with a plus score out of this match. But but it will have been a really interesting match, I have to say. Really interesting play. I think Joel on more often than not on the front foot there, but Leela, yeah, just playing incredibly well, really making an amazing job of it. 12k for Rook. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I've been looking through some Queen odds tactics again. I've got a series of videos planned. Just got to shoot them, but for tactics again, and some amazing stuff in there. Really, face to the lower left of the screen. I'm afraid I can't seem to manage that. I'm terribly sorry, but I'm using a web screen thingy, and it seems to have a certain number of presets, and with this preset it's only on the right. I'll have to do some working out of it, but I just haven't got round to it to see whether I can do anything else. If I drag it anyway, the main screen disappears, so it's not going particularly well. I do apologize. My face will just have to be in an awkward strategic place, I'm afraid. Not the first time people have said that to me. Let's have a look. Waiting for it to start. There we are. Great. And we have got e4. So let me just fire up hierarchs. Oh, we've got a sharp one. We're going to get a super sharp one. This is interesting. Joel has actually had this before. The good old center game. Leela has found a lot of things in there. Bishop e2. Yeah, this is very clever. I was actually Leela hasn't played bishop e2 against Joel before. Bishop d2 was what Leela played, but I've actually spent quite a lot of time looking at this because I was really intrigued with Leela's ideas. There's been a book out recently by I think Norwegian amateur Arne Moll about the center game. And he comes up with all sorts of ideas, but the two ideas that Leela comes up with, A3 and Bishop E2, are not ideas that are in his book. And it's quite, in some ways, not having the knight on G1 is quite a big advantage, because normally Black's getting stuff like knight G4s at some stage, and the king gets a little bit caught in the center, or Black castles quickly, puts the rook on the 8, whereas the king castles quickly. But the idea of this move, Bishop E2, and also of A3, is to play C4 and just get some sort of Maroczy bind position. And very, very nice. You know, just very interesting little tweak on that. And Leela has played just 3 games with 5A3, but it's played 18 games with Bishop E2. So yeah, you will. Yeah, we're going to see something. We're probably going to follow Leela theory for quite a while. I don't know whether Joel's actually. This is actually Leela theory from just the past month. Probably, if I could get the database for a lot longer and probably get a lot more games. This is one of Leela's most popular lines. I mean, Leela's also played Bishop C4 a fair amount, which is also quite interesting. But this is probably more sensible against Joel there. But it's one of those. This is one of those openings where you say, "Oh, you know, Leela at odds, actually quite interesting to try in real, in real chess with a knight on G1. Slightly more awkward in a way with a knight on G1, but definitely worth trying." I mean, the conclusion of that book really was that the center game, more or less, seemed to be that the center game was kind of, you know, kind of just a bit worse for white, really, but quite not obvious in many ways for how black should play optimally. So plenty of possibilities there. It was a very interesting book. Can definitely recommend it by New in Chess. So this is a nice opening, good opening to going to offer chances to both players. Joel's got to work out where to put his pieces. I mean, normally in the center game, in the normal center game with a knight on G1, knight on C3 or bishop D2 is played. Blacks can choose whether to play bishop E7 or bishop B4. If bishop E7, I'm pretty sure that that Leela will play C4, either on this move or the next. Probably on this move. I mean, white can try moves like black can try moves like knight B4 to hit C2, but I guess that we'll just go knight A3 in that case. So we'll just claim that with the Maroczy bind we've gained something nice. Bishop B4 check is possible. I guess Leela will play C3, and then if you go bishop B7, probably Leela will play C4 there. So just very, very interesting. And as I said, 18 games played. This is one of Leela's main lines against knight E4. Yeah, I'm not sure that Leela actually plays center game without the knight on B1. To be honest, I don't think Leela does. I might be wrong though. I've just seen a lot of these center games with the knight on G1 missing somehow. And then it makes a lot of sense, of course, just to go for a clamping plan and not to castle queenside. And what other ideas are there for Joel? G6 and bishop G7 is possible. That's been played once. That's been played once in our experience. There's knight B4, which has been played twice. Somebody's played D5, which is rather bold. Twice, in actual fact. Bishop E7 5 times, bishop B4 check 6 times, and Queen E7 has been played as well, which looks a little bit funny, but may not be completely crazy with the knights off. But I would expect that Joel would play either bishop E7 or bishop B4, maybe G6 or D6 followed by G6, but I wouldn't expect any other move particularly. But this should be a pretty exciting game, I think. I think Leela's gonna get what Leela sort of kind of wants to get, I guess, from these. When it's not going full out for a wild attack, then it's going to get pretty much what it kind of wants. Just a position where it's got a bit of a grind, a bit of a development, a little bit of a space advantage from the opening. And black's got to just play around it, basically. I mean, if you're looking at, I mean, one idea, if you're looking for slightly odder stuff, you could try and play this with a bishop on B6, but E5 is probably going to be quite awkward. I mean, the bishop stopping the knight coming to G4, and after knight D5, we go Queen G3, and there's already some things happening if you do this. So I don't imagine that bishop D6. Wow. That's one I hadn't thought of. 100% win rate. Yeah, that's true in actual fact. Yeah, 100. This is a good one for Leela in principle, but yeah, Joel's having a good think. It's I think by now he's probably spotted this this idea of he's probably spotted quite quickly the idea of bishop e7 c4. Yeah, I mean, I wonder whether anyone's done this actually. Let me just try bishop e7 c4, knight b4. Yeah, that looks quite kind of sensible somehow. No, that's right, John. That's right indeed. Knight a3 was Leela's plan. d6 was played, maybe not completely necessary. Bishop d2, c5. That's a little bit risky there. Who was that? That was I was this 2300 guy who lost quite a few games, but also beat Leela a couple of times. But he played c5, castles, knight c6, bishop c3, castles, rook d1, knight c2. I think Leela's probably very happy with this. You know, you're sort of very solid in the center there. I don't really like what Black did after knight b4. I mean, castles is quite interesting. I mean, I don't think that you're too worried about White playing e5 really. I think you're probably assuming that they're getting rid of this pawn with this knight a bit off on a3. It's maybe a little bit risky, probably. Unless if you prepared it, it's okay. If not, maybe not. So maybe you'd want to play d6. I mean, d5 is not so crazy in this position. You see Stockfish and Torch suggesting these things. Hey, Rishita, good to have you on the stream. You see Stockfish suggesting these a lot, and you sort of think, oh, what's this all about? But the idea is just to sacrifice the pawn, you know, and get some open lines, you know. I don't know. I mean, we could play b takes c6, or even just knight c6, and you know, then you've got some nice open lines here. You know, this sort of thing is quite decent somehow for Black. Maybe we should try 30k no's against Stockfish, Mr. Beads. So I do like d5 actually. I would be thinking about it. If we're thinking about you know, sort of normal play, too strong. You have been waiting for that. Castles. Yeah, Leela played bishop. Oh, after d6, Leela played bishop d2. I would have been keener on a5, I think. You know, and you keep c6 and d5. That would seem quite nice. I mean, this would be this would seem like a very, you know, quite a decent position, I think. You know, something like this maybe. Knight's nice on b4. Keep this one out, and you've got the thought of playing d5 at some stage. Yeah, Joel had bishop d2 a couple of times, I think, against Leela, but not bishop e2. So I guess Joel isn't using Hierarchs Pro to as his database tool. It's very effective somehow for these Leela odds games. You can't do it with ChessBase. There's an awful lot that you can't actually do with ChessBase with odds games. And don't get me started on Fisher Random. So no, Fisher Random is okay on ChessBase, but double Fisher Random isn't. Although I don't think there's actually a database program that does double Fisher Random very well, to be honest. Or did Mr. Bede say Skid can do it? I'm not sure. Hierarchs has a problem with castling in double Fisher random. I think also in Fisher random as well, to be honest. It's yeah, these are the kind of the crazy things. Crazy things about database programs, but yeah, Hierarchs is brilliant for odds play. It's just very flexible in terms of it just creates the tree from what it gets, you know, rather than really expecting the board to be a certain way. So, oh, ChessX, that's right. That's what you were saying, Mr. Beats. ChessX. Oh, Arena isn't good either. Ah, that's interesting to know. I was wondering about Arena, but yeah. Yeah, I asked ChessBase about double FRC, but they didn't have any particular. They weren't interested in doing anything with it. So did I ask the Hierarchs guys as well? I think I did. I think I asked Mark. I don't think he was going to do anything about it, but I might be misremembering there. So don't want to slander Mark. I like Hierarchs Pro, but again, there's I'm not quite sure why it is, but somehow ChessBase is just that little bit more just that little bit handier, you know, to do the normal operations that you do. Very often, you know, sort of copying, pasting between databases and all of that, and it's just ChessBase is just that little bit handier, but it does crash an awful lot. It must be said. I mean, ChessBase. Latest version of ChessBase really is it really is crashing a lot. So it's I mean every version it didn't used to be like that. Version 12, 13 and all that were pretty good really, but recently, you know, sort of 16, 17, 18. I mean, 17 came with a pop-up that tells you I'm running out of memory, you better start me, and then if you didn't, then it's sort of oh my God, Knight C3. Well, Leela, you're completely ruining my story there. I'm very surprised with that. Wow, Knight C3. That was not the idea at all. Let me just check whether Leela's been doing this in other games, but well, D6 hasn't been played actually against Leela, but I mean, I'm just checking other moves. For example, against Bishop E7, against Bishop E7, Leela only played C4. So I think it may be with D6, maybe Leela's thinking of going castles and a quick rook D1, you know, and thinks I'll stop D5 that way. Oh, yes, I've seen this one from Leela before. I've seen this plan. Sneaky Leela. So Leela is going to castle queenside. No, Joel's normally a lot faster on the opening than this. Oh, that's right. ChessX can't handle huge databases. Yes, Skid is really poor at handling large PGNs. Yeah. Yeah, I do wonder actually how many chess-based devs there are, how many people are working on the program. I suspect maybe only one guy is my feeling. It doesn't have the feeling of an operation where lots and lots of people are working on it, which is a real shame, you know, because I think there's so many good things that you could do with a database program. It could be so brilliant. And yeah, but somehow ChessBase got to a pretty nice level and fairly, you know, user-friendly features and everything, but somehow just hasn't really moved on from that, and has just got rather unstable, you know, which is, I mean, you learn to save to save your game after every other input, basically, but no, it's just a little bit could be a lot better, I think. But okay, there's presumably not that a greater need for it somehow. Probably a somewhat limited market, I guess. with all the other tooling you've got. I mean, Lichess and all of that. You can do loads of stuff with Lichess studies as well. So you probably don't really even need a database program, I guess. But it's just older people like me who tend to stick with it. This is a lovely plan from Leela. I hadn't seen it coming at all. But now that when I saw Queen D3 from Leela, I said, yes, of course, I have seen it. I mean, the thing about it is that it's, in the center game, it's quite normal for white to move the queen again. But normally the queen moves over to G3. Yeah, what Leela has done here is just move the queen to D3 rather than G3. And but what this means now is that Leela can play the most aggressive plan with castling kingside. And of course, now that Joel has played G6, probably not expecting this plan at all, then Leela's going to have the good old H4, H5. So yeah, this is I'd say again that this is a challenging opening for Joel. I'd say in the same way that the fourth game, then also the fifth game were quite challenging somehow. Joel alert to this, so he's playing H6 before castling, so that Leela doesn't get an H4, H5. But yeah, you're going to get an F4 or something at some stage. So very interesting opening, very nice play from Leela. This bishop E2 followed by knight C3, queen D3. You could definitely use it in normal stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think looking back on it, Naptha, I think that the effort that people put in, that ChessBase put into, the Fat Fritz stuff and all that was probably very much wasted effort and not really worth it somehow. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in Fritz somehow. Now because you've got the ChessBase program and the Fritz program. I mean, to be honest, Fritz is very stable. Fritz is incredibly stable. I never see a crash on Fritz. And I use the Fritz program an awful lot to run all the engine matches. But that is very stable. But there's a lot of features in there. But yeah, I don't know really. It's sort of all these user-friendly features, but you just feel that the websites and the other companies do all that a lot better somehow. I think I think you could do some wonderful things with the chess databases, mining stuff, finding trends, all that sort of stuff. And you could have done that a lot earlier than all the other sites do, because I mean, Lichess does some interesting stuff on your own games, finding trends, showing typical things. Yeah, somehow ChessBase a little bit late. I mean, they've come up with some sort of AI features, so stuff about your playing style and all that, but even that's not, I don't know, sort of interesting seeing stats, but then I'm not really sure what they mean. Somehow it's not that intuitive. So it's and the somehow the explanations about what ChessBase is doing, they're always somehow very not very clear somehow. It's as I said, I use it, I pay for it, so they've got a very loyal customer in me. Yeah, so I'm not a complete ChessBase burner somehow, but I do think that lots of opportunities to do some really amazing things somehow. But maybe from in a way you just missed the boat now, that there's lots of other companies doing this sort of stuff, and web and stuff, and Lichess doing amazing stuff, of course. For free. I mean, it's just really amazing. Yeah. So I mean, in terms of Lichess, I'm Lichess till I die. Really, yeah. That's is an amazing, absolutely amazing site with amazing stuff. So brilliant to be here. Let's have a look. So Joel's having a little think here. I don't know whether he's wondering, do I castle kingside or do I, move over to the queen side? But normally moving over to the queen side, it doesn't really work that well. Somehow the black queen side's always ends up getting being vulnerable. At least I always end up getting getting killed whenever I castle queenside in bullet games. So I've tended not to do that in these positions. You know, the bishop comes back here, and you've got quite a bit of firepower that's possible to come over, and somehow with the king being on you know, one move away from the b8 square, it never looks as solid as the king side. Don't ask me why the white queen side never feels as ropey. I don't know. It's one of those mysteries to do with colors. But I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, castling king side is very, very natural. I mean, maybe Joel's thinking, you know, do I go or maybe knight e5 first and then g5? You know, try and do something like that. I mean, there are going to be some little tricks, maybe. Yeah, I mean, something like knight e5. You've got to decide where to put your old queen Aruni here, because queen d2, there's going to be knight takes e4 here, which is going to be a little bit irritating. I mean, if you had an extra knight, you'd be sort of thinking, oh, could this be interesting? But I guess that Leela would probably not want to do this. It's also a moot point whether you're, are you going to manage to get your bishop out? You probably, well, I'm not sure actually. I'm not 100% sure you're going to manage that properly. You know, not without having to take this pawn and give up the two bishops. So I don't think that would happen. But then after knight e5, you've got to decide then where is this white queen going to go? That's a very good question, actually. It could be that Leela plays queen d4 then. Not totally impossible. But you might start having some fun here with some tactics here. Get Salk. Oh, bringing out the terms there, Mr. Beads. Is there any non-engine person or I know it's non-engine. It's not the TCC, is it only? But is there any non-engine person who knows what Salk means? I don't think there was opposite coloured castling, was there, so far in the games? Nothing. I think I would have mentioned it if we'd seen that. I mean, you could. You're thinking that that you should have some sort of tactic. I mean, I could play something like a knight h5 to have this sort of thing. The only thing is that you probably just castle with white then, and you know, when you do this, yeah, you haven't really stopped the kingside attack. It might be interesting just to throw this one in, because if the queen has to go to d4, feels a little bit awkward. Feels like you've gained something. Ah, Joel went g5, indeed. Oh, good lord, Joel's confusing me now. Bishop g3, bishop b6, and rook d1. It means opposite coloured short and long side castling, opposite side castling from both sides. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Beads. Hey, Thomas, exciting game going on. But Leela's just confusing me terribly, because I sort of assumed that Leela was going to sulking now. Very good, Marcus. Very good. Why is it so grey? It goes grey when I Mr. Pizza, when I demonstrate moves, and it goes a normal color after. Just so that viewers know what's the main line and what's analysis. That's quite cool. I'm sure I could switch it on or off if I needed to somehow. You can tweak everything with Lichess, but I'm not that. Yeah, of course I'm an IT guy, so I should really dive into this stuff, but I could never really be bothered. 3.5, 2.5, Mr. Pizza to Joel. So Leela's being very cunning here. I've been totally confused by the move orders, and I think that Joel has too, to be honest, because he's used up 37 minutes already. There's one last bit of confusion that could happen, right? Because I think, you know, I think that Joel was sort of thinking about castling queenside. I think he was. It would be interesting to ask him, actually. Well, I think I think Thomas that if Leela's tricking me, then probably she's tricking Joel as well. Because to be honest, I get the feeling it's probably with being somewhat of the same generation. I think Joel's a bit younger than me, isn't he? I think he is, but it's being the same generation, and growing up in the pre-computer age. I think you notice that you're having very similar reactions somehow to positions. Yeah, I think that's right, Larry. I think Leela's going for confusion, and I guess the one thing that Joel might be thinking about is if I castle, will Leela just play the king to f1, or will Leela even play king d2 to c1, having tricked me? I think Leela's really going for having its king on the opposite side. This is pretty damn clever from Leela. Knight d7. Short castles. Okay, Leela's gone short there. Yeah, that was in case you're wondering, that was short castles. It's a brilliant impression of Victor Bologan. He did a he's a Moldavian grandmaster. He did it was a chess base actually DVD. He was doing a lot of those at the time, and yeah, used short castles an awful lot. So Queen d3. So yeah, I mean, interesting. I wonder whether Joel's going to manage to create some counterplay somehow. I mean, you're in a little bit of danger with these sort of positions, that Leela just gets the bits in the center and then starts nibbling away at your king side, and you don't get your counterplay. So it's quite a fraught moment, this, for Joel. I'm not surprised he's spending a lot of time. I'm a little bit nervous about playing the move knight c5 somehow, because there is stuff like knight d5, and then you've got a threat of knight takes c7, queen c7, bishop d6, that sort of thing. Joel's a whole decade older than me. My goodness me! I hadn't realised. I thought he was. I thought he was. Oh right, okay. My goodness me. Yeah, I've just. It's one of those things. You spend a lot of your life thinking that you're younger than everyone. And then at some stage it all switches over, and then I mean, in chess nowadays, I'm like super old compared to everyone. You do the commentary on Lichess, and there was Felix Bloberger, this really nice Austrian guy, young grandmaster, but I mean, he's like 21 or something. It's yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure. I think that Leela's first step is going to be to grab some queenside space. That's what central queenside space. That's what I'm expecting. And then having squeezed black a little bit more, then I think white will maybe play f4, maybe get an h4 if Leela can do that. I think that would be my feeling about how Leela's going to do that. Hi, Kay. So let's have a look. Let's assume castles from Joel, and then we go knight d5. That's what we go. And then let's assume that Joel decides that activity is the way, which is not silly, and plays f5. Does it quickly before Leela gets in there. So what are we going to get? The thing about these positions. Yeah, Felix is really nice. He's superb English as well, actually, but very nice guy. Time usage. Whose time usage? Joel's or Leela's, Mr. Pizza? Yeah, exactly. I was glad to do the stream with Levon because he's just a little bit younger than me, I think. 5-6 years, maybe. But yeah, this is the sort of thing, but this is kind of risky, right? I mean, we get something like takes, and after takes, Have I played against Joel? I don't think I've played against Joel, actually. No, I don't think I ever played him. I mean, we were talking just about after the first game, and I said actually I hadn't seen Joel since the World Team Championship in 1997, where he was playing for the US. Of course, I was playing for the UK. Oh, Joel's doing great. Joel's doing. Oh, with level? No, it's fine. It's all fine. I mean, I think I'm not trying to prove anything, right? I mean, Levon is just stronger than me, so that's not. It's not a problem. And I'm not young anymore, so I don't have any need to prove myself somehow. It's just it's just clear that that I'm decent, so I'll find some decent things when analysing together with Levon, but he's just stronger. There's something very refreshing about not being professional and being a bit older, I have to say. You don't worry anymore about this sort of stuff. So no, just enjoyed it. I had a lovely time with Levon. He's a really nice guy and just a brilliant player as well. So it's you just feel a bit turbocharged when you analyze with someone like that, because it's sort of, you have your ideas and then somebody takes them on and then takes them further. It's really very nice. So like analyzing with an engine, right? I mean, thank you, me. I had a lovely time. Really had a lovely time there. It's but afterwards, I abandoned Lichess. Well, I didn't abandon Lichess. I was still streaming on Lichess, but for Leela, of course, Leela's commentary. This is actually not so bad for Black. I was thinking, Queen B3 is a little bit awkward with some threats in here, but I think Black's got Knight C5 just to deal with it. I suppose the only thing that you start, you start getting nervous about because there are tactics, right, and positions are collapsing. But I would have thought that, I don't see White as being incredibly. Oh, H5 from Joel. Ha! Thank you, Thomas. It must be said. I mean, I have had some. Natasha and I had some very nice comments about, from a lot of strong players about Game Changer. And also about Silicon Road to Chess Improvement, but that one's a little bit less known somehow. But it's only the real the really strong grandmasters with a bit engine buffs as well who like Silicon Road to Chess Improvement. But has some very nice comments about that. It's so F3 from Leela. That's quite restrained somehow. Joel's really going for it somehow. Really going for it. Ooh, I'm being brought a glass of wine by my mother. I will ditch my cup of coffee soon and move on to the wine. My commentary may get a bit more cheery. So F3 from Leela. So Leela's playing very restrained here. Joel is playing quite aggressively here. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know whether I like what Joel's doing. I would. It's the sort of thing I would do in myself in Blitz. What I'm a little bit worried about is that I sort of feel that I don't think that Black's really going to get big attacking chances on the king side here, and I'm a little bit worried that Leela's going to put a knight on d5, start pushing the queen side pawns, and just start getting lots of space, and Black's not really managing to do anything on the king side somehow. Yeah, Levon's really good. He really should do more commentary. He just doesn't do it that much somehow. But I'd be really great to have him more often. It's. Because I mean, he's I mean, there's nobody stronger than Levon, basically. I mean, the reason he hasn't been world champion is well, because of Magnus, and also I guess maybe just temperamentally he's just not quite at that unbelievable toughness level, to be world champion. But in terms of playing strength, he's as strong as anyone there. And so yeah, I mean, he's got a lovely sense of humor. He's interacts beautifully with other commentators. I think somebody should just should really try and get him somehow. Oh, Vichy as well. I listen very much to Vichy. Strange enough. Always very friendly guy. It's obviously he's my generation. He's a bit older than me, Vichy. Vichy's definitely quite a bit older than me. He's Nigel Short age, isn't he? But yeah, very nice guy. Obviously, one of the big guys when I was playing professionally. But I haven't actually heard him commentate very much. Judith's very good as well. I mean, I wasn't too worried about commentating with Levon, but I did commentate. This is a long time ago, 2014, probably 16. Some candidates in Berlin with Judith. That was scary. She is so fast tactically. She really is. It's the sort of thing that kind of tactics are probably my strength somehow. And then you're just coming across somebody who's just like way better than you. And that's a little bit scary because you're sort of thinking, what have I got left then? Joel is playing some interesting chess here, actually. Joel's actually doing, I was saying I don't think that black's going to develop much on the king side, but I'm sort of wondering, actually, when Joel goes knight g6, this is actually looking quite interesting for him. I have to say. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Joel's... Oh, God, that game against Vichy. Do you know, actually, that it was after that game that I decided I was stopping chess professionally? It was... it wasn't necessarily 100% that game, but I really... I told... went to dinner with some of the other guys. Ewan Piquet was there, and I said, I'm stopping chess now. I'm really stopping. And yeah, I started looking for a job actually that very evening somehow. It was such a would have been the best game I ever played. Such a good game, that one. I was playing so beautifully. Sometimes I have some nice positional ideas, but it's too complex. It doesn't quite fit together. My play gets artificial quite quickly. But all of that sort of stuff was coming together. And then I don't know why I played the move I did. Just getting nervous short of time. Yeah, Joel's playing really well, actually. This is incredibly complex chess that he's playing. No, I don't think that wasn't Bobby. That wasn't Bobby Nigel's games. I'm not quite sure who it was, but it wasn't Bobby. Yeah, Vladdy's incredibly sarcastic, unbelievably sarcastic, Vladdy. Also in real life. So if you had to be Vladdy's second, I wasn't, by the way, but if you had to be Vladdy's second, apparently you really needed to cope with a very savage, a very very sarcastic sense of humor. But he's a very nice guy, and definitely I think one of the people that I always felt, I actually had quite a good record against him. I drew four games, I think, against him, and got some very good positions as well. But I always felt like I'd been cheating somehow, because like it always emerged after the game that I'd really seen like a quarter of what he'd seen. But somehow I seem to I don't know whether my style, worked well against him or whether I just picked good openings against him. Maybe I did, but. This is really tense position, actually. Joel's playing really well. I was sort of thinking, this H G5 H4 plan. I think I'm just seeing weak squares and thinking, ooh, but Joel's this maneuver knight e7 to g6 to f4 is very nice, and c6 covering d5. But Leela's, I wasn't sure. I didn't think Leela was going to be able to stop this bishop being exchanged for the knight, actually, which would have been quite annoying for Leela. But of course, Leela's managed to find this this queen maneuver, get the queen out of the way, and the bishop to c4. But what Joel's done very well here is that I was, kind of expecting Leela to start gaining some space on the queen side, and hasn't been able to. So yeah, very, very interesting. But yeah, I mean, this is a tense position, right? And again, this is, you're seeing that the value of Joel having time somehow, because I think if you were playing a fast time control, 10+3 even, you'd be down to you'd be getting close down to increments somehow, working out how to do this, and yeah, you're going to get hit by something nasty. I'm just trying to work out the only problem with playing like as Joel has done there is that you don't have anything safe that you can do. So you can't just sort of say, okay, well, I've had enough of that. I'll just play normally now. You've gained the space. You've got some weaknesses, so you've got to keep on going, and that asks a lot of you all the time. Yeah, it asks a lot of your creativity, of your energy, and all of that. And that's the only thing that I'd say that was the thing. If I'm worried about one thing for Joel, it would be that, simply that you've got to keep on going with this style of play, and it's tiring, simply. But I mean, what could we? Well, yeah. There is a risk if you run out of energy and you start and you let Leela get a bit of control, then you're going to regret playing those moves somehow. But I think they were good moves so far. I think they really were good moves. But the question is, how does Joel continue? I mean, there is I don't think this is going to happen, but I mean, there are these ideas, right? Takes and takes here. And then you play h3 if you want to go rather bananas. You can do this sort of thing, but I think this would probably not be working. I mean, it's quite dangerous, yeah, because we go hg, knight g2. Well, we could probably throw in a bishop c7 here at the very least. I mean, bishop g1. Oh, bishop g1. Sorry. It's mate on h2. Sorry, I'm idiot. The king there, and then I can go knight f4 check somehow. King h1, and well, I've got at least a draw, right? So that's always nice and reassuring, and then I can work out whether I've got any more. Maybe a knight e5 or something. Who knows? Obviously, what I want to do is I want to go play the move king e7. To meet here with check, with check, and check, and mate. Doink, that's what I want to do. But obviously king e7, there'll be rook takes d7, so not very clear somehow. But okay, I mean, that's actually looking like it's at least a draw. Could be interesting then. But of course, Leela is going to find some sort of better defense, maybe g3 or g4. I'm not sure which. Both are probably quite decent. G3 is probably more challenging because you're threatening to take this this king on h2, this bishop on h2 rather, and of course you're also threatening that. I mean, I can take, because if it takes, I take here. The only thing is that even this, this is a sort of position that Leela plays for compensation as white, with all dark squares and everything. So I've been playing a lot of knight of piece down positions in Bullet, and well, I'm actually at 2,900 quite regularly nowadays, which is higher than I've ever been before. So it might be due to that, but it's these type of positions are quite difficult to deal with. Okay, Bullet's difficult to deal with, but even in longer games, they're quite scary. But I mean, you wouldn't even need to do that, right? I mean, you could go maybe a bishop d5 or a knight d5, and yeah, I mean, I think bishop d5 would be very strong here simply because you're not really breaking through at all. Yeah, and I don't know whether there's you haven't quite got enough time. I think you need to go bishop g3 and h3. That's what you'd need to do to stand any sort of chance. But yeah, this is asking a lot of your position. I think we'll get a d8 in or whatever. So I don't think that's working. I don't know whether you could. I mean, you could maybe go takes bishop d5 and bishop g3 now. Would that be possible? You're asking for it, right? I mean, if this goes wrong, then this is the sort of thing where people turn around and say, but you should have known that this was never going to work. I could have told you that, you know, that sort of thing. And the likelihood that you managed to outcalculate Leela in something like this is not great. The question is whether you could improve it. I mean, could I play the move? Indeed. I mean, I've got, in all fairness, not all of the opening lines I play are Leela ideas. I've got a good stash of crazy ideas of my own somehow. I do feel actually that my normal style of play, not the style of play that I played when I was in long games because I was holding myself back all the time, but the normal natural way of playing that I play in Bullet is quite well attuned to Leela odds somehow. But yeah, I'm playing a number of Leela's openings as well. It's very interesting. Also, quite a few of Mariotti's as well, by the way. But I'm kind of wondering actually whether it could be that Joel's thinking, can I actually improve this somehow? You know, go b6, I guess queen a3, and then go d5. Because, you know, like this, I've chased away the queen somehow and no longer attacking the 5th rank. And I mean, looks dangerous somehow, yeah? It looks very dangerous, actually, I have to say, yeah? I mean, the key thing is that you're threatening. You've got this typical mating pattern. Let me just give you this one. Here, check, and bishop f2 and queen g3. That's the key mating pattern. Pretty well known. I've got a sneaking suspicion that. So where does the queen go? I mean, if you go to a4, I go b5 and laugh at you. If you go to a6, well, I can't believe that's a serious move. So, sorry, b6. So, I mean, if I go to d2, then I'm happy, right? I've got the queen out of my face, basically, you know. So queen a3 is natural, and d5. I suspect that Joel is looking at this, that he's very tempted. Check here, takes. Maybe I take on d5 first. I think you take with the bishop. Taking with a knight moves a piece away from the king side somehow. So bishop. Yeah, now you can. I mean, now you can have a look at h3, of course. g3 takes. That's not so stupid now because the queen's chased away somehow. But I do like the look of bishop g3 here. I mean, it is possible to beat Leela tactically. Yeah, it really is possible. If you look at, I mean, I've analyzed loads of these games with Torch and Stockfish, and you know, there are tactical things somehow that Leela does fall for. The question is, of course, yeah, you know, the problem is that Joel's spending a lot of time here now, so, and it's going to be tiring. And what I'm a little bit afraid of is that Leela will find just some way to keep the game going, you know, without going in. This is an idea, hitting both those knights. Then at least I'm blocking in, and then I can give maybe a check. And yeah, who knows? I'm not quite sure, but you know, some rook d6 or something. Rook d7 check, knight g4. Yeah, or you know, that's what I'm a bit worried. Oh, what's he done? He's taken. He's gone bishop h2 check. Whoa. Ooh. Right. Ooh. Ooh, I don't like that at all, really. Ooh. Had Joel, I think presumably Joel had calculated here queen f4. That was very clever. That was very, very clever from Joel, I have to say. Obviously, I didn't see it in this sort of way. But yeah, I think queen g5, queen f4 is what Joel was aiming for there, which was, I mean, making good use of his time, right? I mean, that's, but queen f5 now is Leela's little wrinkle on that, hitting the knight on there. So yeah, that's typical engine thing. Yeah. So queen c7, I think, is what Joel's going to have to do. I think so. Hey, Erin, good to see you. Glad you can catch one of these. They're well worth it. I mean, this is, you know, this is incredibly. This is just unique, right, in chess, and I think it's one of the best things there is in chess at the moment. So even better than Tata Steel. Although Tata Steel is pretty good. I'm very keen on Tata Steel. Not playing there. I had a horrible time when I played, but the tournament is great. You know, they really do know how to put together a mixed tournament with players that you wouldn't normally see at this level, and it just makes it way better than the normal tournament. So I'm getting a bit worried about something like bishop d4, to be honest, now. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe just bishop e3 in this position. Oh, my 81 Dojo account. Yeah. I think I got up to 3 Dan once for a couple of games. This is shogi Erin's talking about, and but I was normally at 2 Dan for shogi, but yeah, I didn't feel I was particularly strong, really. Well, I wasn't, not with the 2 Dan, not with 2 Dan, but I loved shogi. I really did love it. But I sort of felt that 2 Dan is probably as far as my chess understanding would take me somehow. I was definitely, my biggest problem playing shogi was the Bayomi. Was playing when I only had 30 seconds left. I could not get my brain moving in time. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about this. I mean, I think this move. Oh, queen d8. Ooh, I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Thing is, you know, this is really what I don't like about what Joel's done is that he's kind of destroyed his position, you know, on the dark squares. I mean, played these quite aggressive moves, and now that you've lost the dark squares, those moves don't matter anymore. They're not going to achieve anything. They're only making you weaker. And you know, Leela's just I mean, all the engines they're just horrible, absolutely horrible at picking apart your weaknesses somehow. You know, and this is quite worrying somehow. What? Just have a quick look at. Yeah, I mean, to be, you know, I did love the good old Chess 24 commentary. I really did love that. Surprised in the way that Leela's done this, but yeah, it's possible. So takes. We're going check. It's quite funny. You got the chance to get both rooks, but you can block like this, yeah. I guess Leela's going for the draw by repetition, yeah. Ooh, I think Joel's. I don't know. I would, to be honest, I would definitely see that as a result being. Yeah, no, black's definitely not. But I was kind of thinking more that I was worried. What if Leela continues here and starts just playing around in this position? To be honest, I wasn't really. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. This is kind of releasing the tension because I think it's just a draw. This, right? Well, I mean, you can maybe, yeah. I mean, Joel can play this. You've got to be careful because Bishop C5 is going to come in. I wouldn't recommend playing this position against an engine. You're just going to. I mean, Leela would have, yeah. I wouldn't recommend doing this, but I think that this is just going to end as a draw, which, to be honest, is not a bad result for Joel. I would have thought from that opening. Yeah, I mean, obviously, having commentated on the World Championship with an eval bar continually in front of me, it being actually the whole point of it to have the Leela eval bar. I can't really complain about people using an eval bar, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you've got to. Yeah, it's just kind of. It is very difficult to do normal commentary somehow when you've got something telling you exactly what it's like. Somehow it's very hard not to really keep a sense of what's human somehow. But if you analyze without an engine at all, then if you analyze without an engine at all, then you miss a lot of stuff there because obviously the opponent, the protagonists have used an engine to prepare a lot there. So a lot of what they're starting off from and the middle game ideas are from engines. So if you're not using it, you're just putting yourself at a needless disadvantage, I think. So it's very hard to find the mix. Definitely, is hard to find the balance in that. But in general, I do find that the stronger the player, as long as they're sort of normal people, but the stronger the player, the better the commentary, the better the judgment about what's a normal move and what isn't tends to be somehow. But it's thinking a specific number of moves. So once it reaches 30,000 half moves, then it plays its move. So oh! Leela's playing for the win. What? Well, I hadn't expected that because Joel can castle queenside, right? But it is. I mean, it's dangerous, but just wow. Well, that's interesting. Leela's the exchange and a pawn down and playing for the win. Wow. Now I can imagine Stockfish doesn't like Queen H7, but so what's the point? Castle queenside. I guess we're going check and. I mean, are we even picking that one up like that? Maybe we're going Bishop E3. Or even Bishop C5. I think Leela's eyeing a little thingy here. Probably Bishop E3 would be the idea. And then we're going to take and take it back like that. Because you can't go F6 because I've got Bishop G5. But that's a hell of a... Presumably Leela thinks it can cover its king quite easily somehow. I guess if you get that pawn, you put the bishop on the long diagonal, your king's always going to be pretty covered. You're covering the second rank entry point as well. But that is that's a hell of a move. Wow. Yeah, that's right, Erin. Similar principle to the fact that I have to play bullet. If I play blitz, and I start getting distracted, and I end up blundering pieces. So I play much better when I've got no time to think. I guess the reason is that Leela's optimistic. I guess bishop e3 or something like this. But, I think Leela's calculating that it can win pawns somehow and not worry about. Of course, obviously Joel's on 11 minutes somehow, yeah. So he's reasonably his time situation is not super there. Eval was plus given expected level of opposition. That is so cheeky. But brilliant. I mean, fantastic. Eh? I mean, it's got very much that Gukesh feeling. In the World Championship, everyone was sort of saying, "Oh, he's avoided the draw." You know, whereas you should really be saying, "Yay, he's avoided the draw." It's hey, Camilla, good to see you. Camilla, sorry, good to see you. Nice to have you on the stream. And thanks for retweeting and liking. So, yeah, I don't know. Rook d8 does feel, I mean, the king, it does feel very natural to do this, obviously. Rook d7, or maybe, do I go king b8? Maybe king b8, but I'm really struggling to see why Leela would be so keen to carry on. You know, I'm slightly worried, but rook d8, yeah, bishop e3. That was what we said, bishop e3. I mean, Leela obviously wants to take this pawn and put the bishop on f4. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a bit of a niche market, of course. Butter paneer. Oh, Erin. Oh, that sounds so nice. Oh, wait a minute. I've got my glass of wine. I'm going to abandon my coffee and take my wine. It's champagne chess from Leela, so I'm going for it as well. Yeah, no, I'm really glad, Camilla, that you've enjoyed it, because yeah, it's a bit of a niche market, but I just think it's really cool. It's really nice, and actually, to be honest, you know, I do think that you know, these sort of positions where one side's a piece down and playing on, I think it's perfect for not just for strong players to look at, but you know, also for amateurs as well. You know, I definitely think this could be recommended to starting players and all that as well. You know, I think it's fascinating for everyone really to watch. You know, we're really glad you're enjoying it. It's really really great. But yeah, I'm a bit torn with this position. In some ways, I'm sort of thinking, but this cannot be. Leela cannot be serious. That's sort of what I'm thinking. On the other hand, I'm a bit worried about I'm a bit worried about what Leela will do, because I mean, we're not even threatening bishop g5, right? I mean, that's the weird thing, because there's queen c5 check, forking the two guys, so you're not even threatening anything. Yeah, this is real Gukesh contempt. This is Leela. So okay, let's have a little look. What are we going to do? We're not worried about bishop takes c5, bishop takes g5. So that's positive. So could I put my queen sort of somewhere super active? I mean, my big problem is that, you know, if I sort of play something like queen b4, which is definitely very active, I'm pretty sure Leela will go queen g8 check there. Oh, I think I'd assume that I should take black here. Absolutely. But yeah, it's easy to mess up somehow. But no, this is a bit of the problem. And if king there, then queen check, king c8, queen f5. The pawns go quickly, right? I mean, they get munched quickly if we don't if we're not careful. But it's just impossible to believe that this should be, you know, that Leela should be in any shape. Ooh, that's a bit of a whoa. Well, I'm a little bit lost here. Wow, Leela. So Joel offered the pawn on b7 there. Presumably he was going to play give a check and go queen d6 there. So Leela playing a4. But couldn't Joel do the same? Isn't that rather tricky? I mean, one thing you can do always is to go play the move king e2. Yeah, but Joel's got 30 seconds increment, so he's all right for time. That's not going to be a worry. I mean, a move like king e2 is possible, which is a bit annoying because, you know, imagine you put the rook over to b1, then I start giving checks, and you're going to have to disrupt your your situation there in order to. Well, although, come to think of it, there might be a cunning way to make black, you know, sort of not be able to do this sort of stuff. Rook d1. Oh, it's happened. Queen g8 check. Okay. As I said, there is this idea of king e2 from Leela to keep the king safe. And there might also be an e5 that you can throw in to let this rook get unprotected somehow. So, but this is very, very fraught. Very, very fraught, this. I mean, the one thing, the one trap I'm sort of thinking about is to go here and then here and then go queen g4 check and pick up the rook somehow. But it's not good, of course, because then you take on e3. But something like that. Let's have a look. King e7, check, check, check. So Joel's just getting a little bit more time. Joel's not going to go. No, he's not going to repeat. Joel's going to carry on. He's not going to play queen f8 because probably Leela would just take on c4, and you haven't really gained anything there. But I'm pretty sure that Joel's going to play king d7. He's going to carry on, I'm pretty sure. No, it's not going to be a repetition. It's not going to be a repetition. Joel's going to play this one on. Simply because I don't see how I don't see at all how, you know. Oh, draw happened. Oh, draw happened. Ah, sorry. I was shocked there. Oh, wait a minute. I think I've got Joel on the. Yeah, I do. Hey, Joel.
Hi. Yeah. Oof. I mean, I thought I was completely cooked there. You know, when Leela gets an attack, you just think it's over, and
Yeah,
I was shocked that it did this combination and it wasn't winning
yeah,
at all.
yeah. No,
And
that's right. Yeah, I was thinking. Oh, I'm not. I mean, bishop e3. I don't know. b4, b5, or something. I was.
I
I
mean,
was.
if I had this position against a human player, I might think I was holding, but I don't know. Look, I was running out of time, and there were just too many pieces on the board. So I thought Bishop H2 was a good chance to make something happen right away. Well, I still have some time to work it out,
Yeah,
and
I was looking
yeah,
at playing I think b6 and d5. So doing it a little bit differently somehow. So playing b6
yeah,
and here and keeping the dark squared bishop on. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, I was also a little afraid of opening the e file.
yeah, no, of course, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's
yeah.
just, but yeah, I mean, no, what you did is pretty good. But I was just a bit worried with this position somehow. With
I
the
was very worried in this
yeah,
position. Yeah,
yeah,
very worried. Yeah, I have to play it like that because I have to keep that bishop from
yeah,
killing me, either c5 or d4.
yeah. It was
How
a
is
good
that?
idea to
How
bring the
is
C4.
95 dubious? I have a better move than 95 for real.
Knight df8 is what they want. So bring the knight
Oh,
round.
but I just thought bishop c. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
guess when you're playing computer, you think bishop c5
yeah,
wins, but maybe it doesn't.
yeah.
I could just go knight e6. Yeah.
Maybe you can get away with that, but yeah, I can understand that didn't feel like the move somehow. But interesting opening. I thought you played the opening really nicely. It was this maneuver to bring the knight round to g6 was really nice.
I guess this is kind of stuff that you're kind of happy with, against a human opponent. But there's just so many pieces on the board, and it
Yeah,
was just so hard to play. I was not at all. I mean, I was like unhappy with the position, like move 5. Bishop e2. I mean, I assume that black has something to do that's reasonable if there's a knight on the board, but. I, I
yeah.
just don't.
No, no,
I
no.
was just afraid. I was
No,
afraid.
I was saying on the stream, there's been a book that was written recently by a Norwegian amateur called Arnie Moll, and he looks at lots of different possibilities for this. But Leela's come up with a few really nice ideas in the center game that you could play even with a knight on g1, and this bishop e2 is one of them. Just looking to play c4, and a3 is another one that Leela's playing. To play the move c4 as well.
No, the center game I think is a good opening at night odds. It really is.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it had played it against me, and so I was sort of ready for kind of
yeah.
dealing with the main lines. But then hit
Yeah,
me with
take
bishop
bishop
e2.
d2, didn't it, against you? I think.
It well, I think or knight c3. And
Okay. Yeah.
it just went in main line, and I looked at that, and honestly, I put it on the computer, and I took a knight off the board, and then so I stockfished it with a knight off the board to see like if that made a difference. And it's like, okay, that's all right, but then bishop e2, and I was like, oh, I was miserable. After bishop e2 because I just didn't want to let it have this position where it builds up on the king side. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like I had to, you know, I had to kind of do what I did. I couldn't just sit castled on the king side
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, 4.4, easy for you to say, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but
We don't have this during the game. We don't have the eval bar during the game, but
okay, yeah,
this is automatic analysis after the game
yeah,
has done. But it's no, I mean, I liked it very much because I was getting a bit worried about it, but then I thought this move 97, and this was really nice somehow. It was really making sense of all this stuff.
yeah. But then it had this plan of trading my bishop and then try to trade the other bishop, and then I was afraid my center would fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it should fall apart, but I think it's just very easy to find a way that knight comes to c4 or g4. So I was just
Yeah.
maybe c6 is not right. Yeah, maybe that's. But okay, but I put my queen on b8. I have to play c6.
Yeah. I
That's
think
the whole point of that, right?
C6 is good somehow.
Queen a5. That's such a good square.
Irritating, yeah, just cutting
Really
across the
irritating
well,
because
yeah.
it's there, and if I chase, like if queen d8, I thought he goes to b4,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it could attack e6. It just has all kinds of squares to go to.
yeah. it was a great game. It was a really great game, and yeah, you know, just yeah. So I was also surprised that it took on D7 somehow, but yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. You didn't think about carrying on at the end somehow because
I was just just so exhausted.
yeah, no, yeah, it's so I wasn't yeah. I mean, Leela's
Well, I mean, its last few moves were kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, what was it doing? It could make a draw any number of ways,
yeah.
or
It,
I don't really understand why it didn't. I thought it could do something like bring the queen back to F5 and play bishop C5 or something like that.
yeah. No, it just yeah, I don't know. I think it's I mean, the thing, of course, it's always got this move King E2 to
Well, I figured it would play King E2 and
yeah,
then I don't know, and then
keep on checking somehow, I guess. But yeah,
keep on, and I guess I could put the queen in the way, but then the thing is, like, I could see some positions where it comes back and takes the C4 pawn, and then I take the B2 pawn, and it goes Queen D4 check, and it takes my rook.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just these are pretty.
You see, the eval bar, it doesn't really matter that much at this point because the eval bar has me winning in the beginning of the game. But but this is okay. This is a position maybe I'm winning, but I have like five minutes to play a million moves, and it's very, very tricky. But I was just really shocked that I managed to get this good a position after, like, Queen F5 was a nasty surprise.
That's horrible. What a move!
I thought like it takes on G5, and then I get a tempo with my queen, and I thought, I could actually be okay in that position.
Yeah.
But
Queen
then,
F5 was very unpleasant. Yeah.
Of course, I'm still winning, but I really felt like I was lost at this point.
Yeah, but Queen D8, it was a really, really good reaction to put the queen on E7.
I thought so. Yeah. I thought, and then rook, and then, but somehow, I guess I can manage with my knights that I have two playable way. I guess the other one was that one allows bishop C5. I think. Well, I was going to play knight D5, and then I switched to knight G5. So that was at least.
Yeah, I think it's a good. For human players, I think that's.
I didn't see rook takes D7 at all. I mean, I just thought everything's protected, but it wasn't that. I wasn't really that fearful anyway because it just traded a lot of stuff.
Yeah. No, incredible, lovely game. Well, I mean, it's you've got to four points now, so that's brilliant already.
Well, so, I should have won this match by now, but at least I won't lose it. No matter what, I won't lose it.
It's so let's have a look. When is the next game?
The next game is until 4 because we only have.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Two. I mean, 4 o'clock in New Jersey here. So I might get a nap in because I actually slept very poorly last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't sleep that well in general, but with the late start, I've just I just said, like, today, Monday, school day, so I just made lunches last night, and I said I'll see kids when you get home, and but I 4 o'clock in the morning I was awake, and I'm thinking, like, oh man, I hope it doesn't come at me in the next game. And of course it comes at, but Matthew, I mean, it's really a much better strategy for the computer to play aggressively in the opening.
Yeah.
I think for sure, and I don't know if it's if there's any pre-programming as to which approach it's going to take in a given game, but I think that's, for me, the games where it just futzed around and did random things in the opening, I just had a much easier time.
Yeah. No, it's when it plays with purpose like that. It's that's when it's making you nervous from the start. It makes a big impact. It's true. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Have a good rest, Joe, and looking forward to the last game.
Okay. Me too.
Okay. See you, Joe. Fantastic, brilliant. Well, that was a really interesting game. Some interesting moments there. As I said, I was also thinking, if Leela just kept the pressure on in this position, I thought that was going to be quite tough. This rook d7 was maybe just for playing against a human a little bit early somehow, but yeah, you know, still a very, very nice game. No, never played Joel. Never played Joel. Always end up playing Boris Gulko in England America games and not doing very well, I have to say. Yeah, John, I think Leela couldn't do much else by this point somehow. I think yeah, if you don't take the draw, I'm not really sure what you're doing there. So it's getting harder and harder to protect your king somehow without, if you know, you want the black queen a bit distracted to be able to do something. But yeah, I think because I think what would have happened would be that you just keep on checking like this, and then black's got to go queen d8, and then I can take this pawn. I think that's the point. Yeah, I can understand Joel was a bit worried about this, come to think of it. Not going to be easy to do very much here. So quite a toughie, this one. It's so there we are. That was the game. So actually, the next game is that Joel's getting a bit of extra time just to have a rest there, which is great. So it's going to be at 9 o'clock UK time. So in about 2.5 hours, I guess. So yeah, I will close the stream there because well, I do have about 100 puzzles for you, but I think that might become a bit of a long stream. So I'm going to close the stream there, and I will see you at 9 o'clock, hopefully, for the last game, where Leela has to win in order to make a draw. But I think yeah, whatever happens, I think you know, both players can be very proud of what's happened. I think Joel's played really, really well. He could already have won the match, indeed. I think with a little bit of extra luck, maybe, you know, but I think you know, Leela's also shown just how amazing it is to be able to, you know, with night odds to give such a hard fight to a GM of Joel's strength. Really, really amazing. Yeah, remember to do some hoovering, indeed. All right then. So see you in a couple of hours' time, and thanks very much, everyone, for joining. Brilliant stuff.